Doors unlocked. You can leave anytime you want. It's much easier for me to talk at my table here.
It's fine. I'm willing to give you any information you need, or...
I appreciate it. And we saw that you were one of the people that we briefly spoke with, I think, over at...
Well, yeah, I went over there like a jackass because I didn't realize the severity of the situation at first, so I go over there at like 7 o'clock at night and, you know, do my usual routine, go up there, ring the doorbell 10 times, you know, just to piss them off, and next thing you know, there's a...
Cops inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the parents, and they're really concerned, like, this isn't just you know, she got mad and, like, stayed at a friend's house type deal, or, you know.
Right. So that's all I'm doing. Just wanted to have a conversation with you just so I can have an idea. I'm actually not the primary case agent.
Okay.
We just have numerous investigators going out and we're talking, and we're trying to gather as much information as possible.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, sure.
So forgive me if I ask you some questions that have been already asked. You know.
I haven't been asked any questions.
Okay. Well, an officer spoke with you for a couple of minutes, I think.
Come in. Briefly, I was actually speaking with Greg. I didn't actually even go into his...
Yeah, sure. You want water or soda? I have diet or regular water?
Water.
Okay, sounds good. Give me a second. This weather turned way too warm for me way too quick. I like cooler weather. One thing that I'd like to do is this, because my time is obviously important because of a lot of things that are going on here, and I want to respect your time as well.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Our Phoenix system is broken.
I just spoke with Rick about it.
Okay, I just want to make sure you knew that.
Yep.
That's a different thing.
Yep. So I want to respect your time as well. A lot of people that we're speaking with, we like to put pieces together, and in today's technology and world, phones are a big piece.
Yep.
So when we speak with people, we'd like to have access to phones and some of the records. They'll help us identify some communications and things like that. Did you bring your phone by any chance with you?
I did bring it, yeah.
Is it okay if my people look at that while we talk? It's completely up to you. You don't have to provide consent if you don't want to.
I don't think I have to give my phone up, but you can ask me things that you've seen in other people's phones that...
Sure.
You know...
Can I see your phone?
Yeah, sure. But it just doesn't seem like it's appropriate.
No, that's fine. You can just lay it down there. What type of phone is it?
Just iPhone 6, I believe.
Phone 6. And what was your phone number?
920-227-8939.
And what is your cell phone provider?
I think we go to Sprint.
And how long have you had this phone?
I think when it first came out, the 6, I think like 2 years maybe.
And you've had this number for at least that long?
Yeah, it's my first smartphone.
I think I had my first phone when I was in my 20s, so my first cell phone.
Oh yeah, I had one in high school. But I've been doing the dumb flip phones for, you know, until 2 years ago. I finally had a smartphone. Now it's just...
So Dustin is D-U-S-T-I-N?
That's correct.
And your middle initial?
J.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, I said my name is Roman, right? I'm one of the investigators here at the Sheriff's Office. How do you spell your last name?
C-L-A-R-K.
And your birthday?
5/24/82.
And we stopped by at your house, is that 808 Ridgeway over there?
Yep. I've been there for going on, it'll be 3 years in January, I believe.
And is that your house?
Yes.
Who do you live with?
My wife.
Do you have any kids?
Nope.
Okay.
3 animals.
Kind?
2 cats, and I got a Gordon setter. She's like a hunting dog.
And I overheard somebody talking about that you were in a motorcycle class?
Yeah, this weekend I had the Vanderheyden Harley Davidson class.
Okay, so
They
just
give
like a
it-
safety course or something?
Yeah, it's a basic riding course.
Right, pretty good.
Basically, it takes place of a, you know, an actual road test, and it gives you 15% off of your insurance.
Oh, you get your license automatically then?
You just have to go take the temps test, which I did yesterday.
Oh, okay, that's
But
just a written one, right?
Yeah, I had a motorcycle before, but I played the temps game where you get the temps the last 6 months, so the whole season, and then you can renew.
Because I was wondering, because
up
you're
to
not
3
riding
times.
like an initial rider. I ride, I have a street glide.
Oh, I've been riding forever, dirt bikes, you know, anything with the engine on it, you know, I've been riding since I was little.
What is that?
That's a 2015 Street Bob.
Oh, so it's a newer one.
Yep, it's my brother-in-law's bike. He just bought a new one.
Oh, and he gave this one to you?
He's let me store it, and then July he can sell it. So I might buy it or just give it back to him and sell it.
So let's talk about Doug. Who is he to you?
I've known him since we were 16. You know, we played soccer together in high school, just for 1 year. For sure played soccer, you know, recreation leagues. I've known their family, you know, for the whole time as well. I mean, they've been nothing but nice.
How old are you now?
34.
34.
Yeah.
More than half your life.
Yeah. Yep.
And who is Greg to you?
Same thing. I've known him since high school.
You consider both of them your good friend?
Yeah, probably my best friends. They both stood up at my wedding back in June.
Are you closer with one than the other?
I don't know if I would say one more. I hang out with Greg more often than I hang out with Doug. Just because me and Greg have a lot more interests that we like to do. Like we love to go frisbee golfing. We probably do that 3 days a week.
Well, that's a lot. It's like almost professional.
Well, he thinks I'm at that level, but we just do it for fun. I mean, something to do, some exercise, take the dog with me.
W or?
All over the place. Manitowoc, Kewaunee, Kakana, down in the valley.
And who was your best man at your wedding?
His name is Bernie.
What's Doug's last name?
What's Doug's last name? Detrie.
How do you spell it?
Detrie.
How about Greg's last name?
Matthew, Mathu, double G, I think.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about Friday night.
Okay.
Did you go out Friday night?
Nope.
Okay. And where were you Friday night?
From 5:30 to 9:30, I was at Vanderbest.
5:30 P?
Yep, 5:30 p.m. to 9:30.
9:30 P, and that's Vanderbest
Yep.
in town and the Harley shop?
Yep, Vanderbest, Harley Davidson. And then after I left there,
What were you doing there?
I was taking the basic rider course. They provide it free for veterans.
Oh, where did you serve?
In the Army.
Army?
Yep, did 1 year in Iraq.
Oh, I did some Army time.
Okay. Yep, with the airborne infantry. So,
What, you do just one active duty?
yeah, just
3,
one tour.
5 or whatever?
I did a 4-year contract. 4-year contract, yeah, with the 4-year IR reserve, whatever, but
Right, you don't have to.
I never got called back up.
Are you still on that, or you got?
No,
back to
I'm well out. I mean, I think my 10-year deployment anniversary was, you know, this past March or something, 2 Marches.
What was the year you were deployed?
2004 to 2005.
Yeah, I never went overseas, but I was mobilized after 9/11, so I did a year after that, but I never went overseas. Although I was born overseas, so I don't know if that counts. So it was basic rider course in Green Bay and Harley?
Yep, and that went up to about 9:15 maybe or so.
Okay.
My wife she works at Titletown Brewing Company, and it was Craft Beer Week, and she's the co-founder of Craft Beer Week. And so I went down there to see if they were still, you know, doing stuff, and she said they weren't in the brewery anymore, they're upstairs eating already. So I just went home.
Okay, so you never even went out there? To Titletown?
I never went up. I pulled up and I stopped and I parked. I smoked a cigarette. I called her on the phone right by the front doors of the new tap room. And then she said she was already upstairs eating with a group of girls. And so I just went home.
So you drove there, called her, then drove home, right? And what time do you think you were at Titletown?
I was probably there somewhere around 9:30ish, give or take. I can't remember, PM. I was only there 5 minutes, enough time to smoke a cigarette, call her, and then realize that she was already in the middle of dinner.
And then home what time?
It probably takes me about 15 minutes from there, 10, 15 minutes.
And, you stayed home that night then?
Yep.
Okay. Did you go to bed or did you do something?
I cooked a frozen pizza, and then went to bed. I worked the previous night. I worked 12-hour overnight shifts.
Where did you work?
At Rennes Health Center in De Pere. It's a skilled nursing facility, so I'm a registered nurse there. And I'm a charge nurse overnight shift from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
And
So on Friday night, you were in bed by what time?
10 o'clock probably.
10 p.m. So would it be fair to say you weren't texting or calling or using your phone after 10 p.m.?
Nope, not until I woke up the next morning.
Okay. Was there anything unusual before 10 p.m. on Friday night as far as calls, texts, conversations?
Doug texted me and asked me if I was going to the Steel Panther concert.
That was a call or text?
It was a text. And he said, he asked me if I was going to the watering hole, and let's see, I can tell you exactly what time. Look how Doug's never been this far down. So on Friday night, at 18:58, so 6:58. He just said, "Sup? ? Doing anything? We are going to Steel Panther and Annex at the watering hole." And then I texted him at 9:18. That's probably when the class ended.
At what time?
9:18. I said, "Going home to sleep. I have that free Harley riding class this weekend. Starts at 6:45 a.m." And then he texted.
So it's a more than one day that the course is?
Yeah, it's 3 days. It's a night of classroom, and then there's 2 days of actual, putting around in the parking lot and practicing stops and crap like that. So it went from 7 until, it was scheduled from 7 to 5, both days. But
So is that the only contact with Doug Friday night?
Nope, it's all at the same time, right around the same time though.
Okay.
It's 21:18.
You want to just put it down so I can read it with you?
Sure.
Just put it down right on the phone.
So they said, "Stop doing anything." That was the first text. This one was from baseball the night before.
Okay.
They said they shut them out. And then this one's the first one on
Yep.
Fridays, doing anything, Harley class, no. And they said, laugh out loud, learn how to ride that hog.
Okay.
And I said, yep, free $330 course.
Okay.
And then they put, can't teach yourself.
Okay.
And
And then that's it for Friday.
And then Saturday at 5, I texted them, "What's up?"
Saturday, okay, well, once you get to Saturday in a second, so Saturday 5:04 is up,
Yep.
and then nothing until Sunday for text message till midnight about?
Yeah, because I went over there actually, right after that
What's
text.
going on?
At 7.
Can we scroll? What's
Sure.
next?
Sure. It says, "Not okay at all. Talk to you tomorrow. I'm at my parents now. I'm doing okay. Need help with anything?" And he said, "Not doing well whatsoever. Just been staying close with family. I'll be in touch when I'm ready to talk. Thanks for offering to help."
And so that's Sunday into Monday?
Yep.
Okay.
Because they started evolving, and we started seeing, this thing unfold from just being her, whatever, not around, to it being serious.
So that's Friday. Now let's talk about Saturday. You get up at what time?
I think I got up around 6 that morning because I had to be over on Velp. I got up, at
What time is the class?
They wanted us to be there at 6:45, so I got there between 6:45 and 7.
Same thing, Vandervest, Harley Davidson?
Yep.
Okay, so you went from your house, did you drive your bike there? Or
Yep, I rode the bike.
you rode the bike over there,
Yep.
and,
All 3 days I did.
by the way, did you pass the class?
Yeah.
Good. So you're there, 6:45 to 7, and then when does the class get done?
I don't know the exact times it got done both days. It was scheduled to 5, but both days it got done about an hour early, hour and a half early. I don't know, the
Okay,
exact.
so 4 to 5 sometime it gets done?
Yeah.
Okay. And then while during that day, before the class gets done, any calls, texts with anybody, Doug or anybody else that gets done, then what happens next?
Class got done, it was my birthday the next day,
Okay,
so I went to my parents' house.
Sunday's your birthday.
My parents were leaving for Florida,
Okay,
so they wanted to give me a gift
okay.
before I left, so I went over there on Saturday night around, around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Okay, so after class, you went to your parents?
Correct.
And what's the address there?
2492 Fairhaven Drive, and it's in Bellevue, 54311.
Okay, so you
I
got
was
there sometime between 4 and 5, right?
Yep, I was probably there, yeah, probably right around 5 o'clock. I was there for maybe an hour, hour and a half. They gave me a card and a gift, and I talked to them a bit, because they actually were leaving the next day to drive down to Florida. My grandma, I'm taking care of my grandma. And that's about it with there, and then
Okay.
I immediately went to Doug's house afterwards.
Did something lead you to go to Doug's house? Was there anything up to that point, any calls?
It was earlier that day, well, actually, I did get a text in the middle of the night. I didn't answer it, or even wake up, but
Who was that from?
it was from Greg.
Okay. If you want to do the same thing, just put it on the table and then we'll look at those messages.
Let's see here. Alright, so this is the first text I got
Put
from,
it down, especially so we can look at it.
so this is the first text I got, from Greg.
Do you mind if we go back to Friday for Greg?
I don't think I have anything from Friday. The last time I talked to him was Tuesday, May 17th.
So just scroll past Tuesday and then into what's in, going forward. So
So
Tuesday.
I had a couple of conversations Tuesday, and then right to Saturday.
Okay, so if you want to put it down, we'll just go right from Saturday then. You might put it-
Yeah, so Saturday, he must text me in the middle of the night, that, Nikki's crazy, she's going to get
So
me
that's-
OWI.
Okay, so that's the only thing that I see on Saturday, and that's 1:19 in the morning.
Yep.
Did you later speak with Greg about that text message?
Nope, no.
I mean,
I did later the next day.
Right, so can you tell me what Greg said about that text message?
That she had walked away from the bar, and that they had to go try to find her,
Okay.
because she's trying to walk home from, from the sardine can, and that's a long,
But
that's a long walk.
what is this that she's gonna give him an OWI? What is
Because
that?
they're looking for her.
Okay.
And if he's been drinking, or, had, even just if he already has 2 OWIs. If he gets pulled over and he's more than .08, that's his third one.
So who said that they were looking for her? I mean, if he's in the passenger seat,
No, this is what he told me the next day, that's what you're asking me.
Yeah, and he said they were looking for her.
Yeah.
So that suggests
Yeah,
that he
him
was
and
driving. Well, yeah, there
Yeah.
was like 20 people at the bar, so I don't know who was looking for her.
Oh,
What did Greg tell you who was looking for her?
that they were looking for her,
And that means Greg and who else?
Greg and Doug.
Okay, and then that would suggest, that text message would suggest that Greg was driving, because if you're a passenger, you can't get arrested for drunk
Yeah,
driving.
he was driving, it was his car.
Okay, and the reason why they're looking for her is because she walked off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't divide that from that text.
No, that's why I'm
Well,
asking
that's
you,
what he told me.
what is it he told you the
Right,
next day?
right.
Because you get that in the middle of the night, clearly you didn't answer it. It
Sure.
means nothing to you
Mhm.
until you talk to him, and especially under the circumstances, of course, you would have a conversation with all that means, right?
Right.
Okay, so then the next day...
Next day in the morning at 8, he asked me if I wanted to go to Brilliant, and we go to Brilliant to throw a Frisbee disc.
Gotcha,
And then, I was already in class when he texted me that, so I didn't get it until around lunchtime.
okay,
And I told him I was in that motorcycle class, and then I got done, so that was probably when I got done at 16:40. And
okay.
I said, did you end up going to Providence? He said, no.
So let me go back up a little bit. So when you say between 4 and 5, do you now, looking at that text, remember that would have been the time you were done?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So 4 4:40 is when you're done, to be more accurate.
Sure.
Instead of 5. And then that's when after that, that's when you went to your parents at 4:40, sometime after that.
Mhm.
Stayed there for about an hour and a half, told them that you were at the class, till 5, and then at 4:40 is when you, asked him if you want, is that frothing, that's,
Yeah, frisbee golfing, yeah.
Okay. He replied that he didn't, you said lame, if we can keep going.
And then, he texted me, because they couldn't find her, that Nikki maybe didn't know a joke, and I'm like, why do you say that,
Okay.
And says she's still missing friends and family, haven't heard from her, she's not in jail, and then I sent real insensitive,
She's still missing, friends, family, haven't heard from her, she's not in jail. Okay.
like they're looking for her, and I didn't think it was that serious at the time, so I write that stupid text, Doug at home cleaning off his shovel,
Okay.
and then I talked to my wife, and she's like, oh no, I thought I saw her on Facebook today, and I texted back, I'm like, oh, they already know where she is. And then he
So
said,
that's a statement, not a question?
yeah.
Okay, so let me back up a little bit. How much time, because it doesn't say here, between these two, do you know? Okay, so 5:01,
Yeah.
you made that off-color remark about Doug cleaning his shovel.
Yeah.
And then 5:10 is when you, 5:01, and that's what, Saturday?
And that's when I spoke to my wife, and she said that, it's not true, they're just, she saw her on Facebook or something like that, or,
She saw her doing what on Facebook?
I don't know, it's just what she said.
So whatever your wife told you about Facebook led you to believe that at that particular
Like,
time
she was
okay?
she was already texting again, and, and they, she's already back on Facebook, that's what I thought, and that she was okay.
Gotcha.
You
And
know,
your wife's name is what?
Christina,
With a K or C?
Krystina, and her last name is Engabus.
Krystina?
Yep.
And her last name?
Engabus. AENG.
ENG, yeah.
EBOS.
EBOS. And middle initial?
Anne Marie.
A. And then what is it, 2 A and M?
I think it's just an A.
And a birthday for her?
2/11/84.
And a phone number for her?
I'll have to look that one.
Okay.
It's area code 860-817.
860-817, yeah.
Stamp phones, you don't remember those numbers anymore.
No, it's usually speed dial.
6674.
6674. And you guys same address?
Yeah.
What area code is 860?
Connecticut. She was out there for a while on a job.
Okay. So your wife was with you at home when these 5 and 5:10 were exchanged. You have this thing where he's saying it's no joke, and then you must communicate then to your wife that there's something going on with Nikki.
Well,
People are worried for her.
Yeah, I did. Why?
Can you pull back, Greg, so if you could, or
I ended up talking to her because I was done with class, and I told her that Nikki had walked away from, they were looking for Nikki.
So were you at your parents' house when you talked to her, or were you at home when you talked to her?
I might have still been in the Vanderbilt parking lot, just because I can't, work my phone while I'm riding.
Sure.
So I was like catching up on.
Okay, so 5, so then you have the shovel text, so then is it a phone call or a text with your wife, where she says about Facebook?
I think it was a phone call.
And feel free to look at your wife's text to see if that
I
was,
looked at my phone log.
or, yeah, see if you called
What
your
date?
wife.
What date? What is it?
Saturday at, it would have been somewhere between 5:01 and 5:10 p.m. Saturday was the 21st.
I don't have any calls on Saturday to her.
Okay.
It must probably just text message.
It'll be easier then, we'll know exactly what she said to you. kind of see the importance then of having the phone information for us, because we can kind of piece those things together, especially under a serious case like this.
No, I don't see anything there.
So then that's odd. What would make you write that then? Would that be your wife then, or would you, or do you think that was a mistake when you said that?
Call again. I don't see it. I swore I talked to her.
Your recollection is that that's why you wrote that, because you talked to your wife? I mean, that's pretty specific Facebook. I mean, that's not something that you would make up, you know, or something that you would misremember. It must be, that must have what happened, according to what you're saying.
I don't see anything on there.
Does anybody else ever use your phone?
No.
And you always have it with you?
Yeah.
Okay, if we can go back to Greg.
Where are we supposed to do?
Right where we left off, if that's okay with you.
We have a lot of conversations since. He's pretty worked up. Alright.
Okay.
So there's,
Motorcycle, yeah, she's still missing, family friends, she's not in jail.
and at 10 after 5, I spoke to somebody. And, I mean, I don't have anything in my call log during that time,
Right.
but that's when.
No text or call log?
I don't.
Somewhere between 5:01 and 5:10, I
Yeah.
should be between these two. So is it your recollection that it was your wife, or could it have been somebody else?
There's nobody between that time.
Okay, no, I mean, your recollection, who told you about this Facebook?
I thought she said that,
Okay.
it's not true, that, she
Okay.
was on Facebook or whatever. So then they made that real nasty remark,
Yeah.
just joking, because these are friends I've been with for 18 years,
Mhm.
I was being an asshole.
Yep.
So then he said, I thought they knew where
What
she
time
was.
was that reply?
10 after
So
5.
2 minutes later.
Yep. And he said no, he was with Doug, because he was joking, off that remark that I made.
So it appears that you're joking, but his reply appears to
It's
be
getting
serious.
more and more serious.
So why would Doug need an alibi?
Because I don't know, because I wrote that comment.
Okay,
And
so you meant it as a joke, but clearly he meant it seriously.
right, I didn't think it was as serious as it is obviously today.
Right.
Something like this
Because
happening.
here it says no joke, but obviously you didn't think that at the time.
Mhm.
Okay.
So then after that text message, I went to my parents' house, and I was there for about an hour and a half. Then I came over.
Is it okay if I scroll down and read the other ones after that?
Sure.
What's up, what's going on at the sheriff's office, being questioned, any leads to where she might be? No, apparently they like Doug and I for it. Well, there was a body found in the ditch right there on Hoffman Road by Ziggy's at 2 p.m.
This was on the news.
so this is Saturday,
Mhm.
and what time is that at Ziggy's? That's at 9:44.
That's right, I think it was the 9 o'clock news.
I see, okay. Did you erase any of these messages?
Nope.
All the messages are as is?
Yep.
I see, okay. No response,
She was getting interrogated.
then on so this was Friday night? No, Saturday, I'm sorry. This was Saturday
Mhm.
at 9:03. So then Saturday at 11:06, what's going on? We're all worried, this sounds horrible, stop by if you want. Then Sunday, doing all right.
I picked him up from here
Uh-huh.
at 1:30 that night, or whatever time it was, on Sunday morning, and gave him a ride home. And he was so tore up about it, I thought, you know, that I felt for, you know, almost in fear, you know, that he would do something to himself, or, you know, so I wanted to make sure he's doing all right when I got up the next morning.
Doing all right today, question mark, anything new? He responds, this is Sunday now, no. About to have a A-Rod pick me up and bring me to my car. Who's A-Rod?
Aaron Klinsky.
Okay. That's Sunday, then Sunday 12. Get your car, yes, and talk to the cops for 20-30 minutes, gave them a mouth swab. Did they release my info? What do you mean by that? I'm sorry, did they release any info?
Mm-hmm.
Not really, they're still identifying the body, but she had the wristband. Joan's friend is a cop, told her that. But she had the wristband. Joan's friend is a cop, told her that. Who's Joan?
Just a girl that we used to know in high school, Katie Jones.
Katie Jones?
Mhm.
Okay, and what is this, a cop told her that she had a wristband?
I don't know, everybody had their own philosophy of what happened and how she was found and all that crap, so everybody, I mean, people were saying different stuff all the time.
You wanna throw some discs? Nope, cop came and took my car again. What a fucking joke. Wasting all your resources on the wrong people. Do you need a ride to work? No, took a dad's car. You okay? This is now on a Tuesday. No, I'm not. Are you being dragged into this? Get your car back. His response is on Tuesday, this fucking crazy bullshit, of course. I had absolutely nothing to do with this, and I don't believe Doug did either. I walked out on the interrogation at 11 when they kept trying to say I was involved. Total bullshit. No, I did not get my car back. Your response, what a mess, poor Doug. I feel bad for the families. I hope this all gets worked out and quickly. He responds, they're telling me my timeline seems too rehearsed. What the fuck do you think I've been thinking about over the last 72 hours? You replied, do you want to get together in the morning and throw some discs and talk about it, or just get some breakfast? No, I need to talk to a lawyer.
You guys have all those discs anyways in the car.
What was that?
You guys, the next part of this, he didn't go because you guys have all of his Frisbee discs in his car.
No, I need to talk to a lawyer. They have all my discs anyway. Maybe I'd swing by. What the fuck is going on there? There's no way Doug could have done this. You reply, I feel the same way. The truth would reveal itself somewhere. I don't think he's capable of this. Then he replies, who knows? They might try to arrest me at any time. I hope they get the camera footage to show I did everything I told them I did. Trying to tell me I'm lying. I have been 100% honest. I've tried to help the police in every way I could. I didn't do laundry Sunday so they could have my clothes. It's so unbelievable. They never looked for anyone but him. And because I was with him and was his alibi, they want to destroy me too. Everything happened the way I told them. And you reply, well, they have this neighborhood cordoned off and asking all the neighbors if they saw anything. I hope someone has some insight to what happened. The news release said they found blood in the road. So if there was a struggle, maybe someone witnessed it or heard, and it can be put a time on it. And then Tuesday, later on my way. Then yesterday, which is Wednesday, 2:30, room A for Doug's arraignment. If you want to go,
Yeah, I will go. They giving you more trouble, Jennifer?
Yep.
No, I'm sorry, not yet, no car though, downtown courthouse you asked, you replied Brown County Courthouse. Can you believe this? At Crystal and Mike's, if you're not working, you replied, this is crazy, a positive note. All the so-called evidence is just speculation. I'm at the DMV, I will see where you are when I'm done. You replied, it's going to A-Rod's, Tuna's duplex, first one. You reply, do we know if Doug is out yet? What do you mean by that?
Because they announced his bail amount.
Oh, okay.
You know, like if he was gonna, make bail, or, I'm scared to text him because I don't want to, he needs a space, and I'm sure his parents are gonna, they're probably on the brink of heart failure right now.
Sure.
Because of it.
He replies, no idea. When you ask if you want to do anything, he replies that A-Rod's phone going to die soon. Yes. Want me to get you? Sure. It doesn't look like he's out yet, which is today.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting, that's what you write. How did you find that out?
What's that?
Doesn't look like he's out yet.
Oh, on the website.
Okay. And then he replies, I'm meeting with one of the detectives soon, and that's, is that just now? Or?
Yeah, if you go on.
Okay. Oh boy, want me to be available in case you need to leave again. This is him telling you he's meeting with a detective.
Yeah,
and then
today.
you said, okay, again, no meeting with a DeBrew Park. I called him, I have some questions. You reply, need some backup. He says, no. Nope, he was the only one I believed when he told me this was about finding Nikki's killer. The rest just said, but I knew it was only about Doug. Then you reply, okay, don't lose your cool. I don't tell them how to do their job and call them incompetent. It's just not going to make anything better for anyone. He replies, no, that is not the point of this conversation. They want to know that they're looking for Nikki's killer, not just looking to convict Doug. You reply, you done?
The other one was the wrong person. I was trying to text my wife that I mailed the bills.
Mail out the bills, heading to get Frontline and Hard Guard now, a lone person, and then he replies, done now, and went okay, told me it couldn't hurt. Posting my idea, probably wants to talk to you about your stupid text though, sorry. That's fine, I would love to explain it, and now we're here, right?
That's correct.
So we don't know who told you, but you suspect it's your wife that told you. It was the Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're at your parents' hour and a half. That's Saturday. And then where do you go from your parents?
To Doug's.
Okay. And what leads you over to Doug's?
Just because of all those texts. I had something I had to do before I could go over there and see what was going on, like at my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went over there to see what was going on. I never had a text saying, we're calling the cops because she's missing, anything like that. So and as far as I knew, she was just hanging out somewhere or, still around. Obviously not the latter when we figured out later what happened, but so I went over there. I took the bike over there, and I don't know, probably got there around 7 o'clock. The other detectives could probably verify my time a little closer. But I went up to the doorbell, and I ring it like I normally do, like a jackass. I probably hit it 10 times. And then Greg came to the door, and another detective was with him. I didn't know it was a detective at first. He was, plain clothes. I thought maybe it was, because I saw Doug's mom and dad in the kitchen with Doug. I thought maybe it was like one of Nikki's brothers, or, maybe like the ex-husband or something. I don't know. I didn't know who it was. So then I started talking to Greg about what was going on while we were sitting out there smoking a cigarette, and, then I saw they had a badge on, and I knew things were a lot more serious than, just her, being mad and hiding out.
When did you first find out that there was a body that was located?
It was on the news.
Was that before or after you went over to the house?
After.
Okay. So after the house
I think they
on the news?
released it on the 9 o'clock news.
Can you believe it was 9 o'clock news?
Yeah,
you went over there, you talked to an officer there, and then where did you go from Doug's house?
Home.
And you stayed the night there at your house?
Yep, and I had that class again the next morning at 6:45. I didn't stay the whole night because I came and picked Greg up at 1:30 in the morning on Sunday morning from here.
Okay, so you went home, and the next time you left your house was Sunday at 1:30 in the morning?
That I can recollect off the top of my
And
head.
you picked them up where?
We ordered Domino's,
You picked them up?
here. I picked him up right underneath the solar panels here,
Okay.
because you guys had his car. And,
Was he at the sheriff's office for some reason, or did he walk here, or?
no, the way, the way he explained it is after I left, Saturday night.
I see. So they brought him
as soon
here
as I
and
left,
they had their
he
car?
followed a detective over here just like I did with you guys.
Okay.
And, and then they started, going through his car, questioning him.
Okay.
And then as soon as I knew, and,
So when he was done with the detectives here, he reached out to you for a ride,
Right,
and then you came and picked him
right,
up?
'cause he didn't wanna call his parents because
Gotcha.
it was 1:30 in the morning.
And where did you take him from there?
From here to his house on Grandview Road. I don't know the address, but.
And then you went home?
Yep.
And then you went to class?
Yep, same time, probably got there about 6:45, 7 o'clock. And I was there a little shorter of the last day, up to maybe 3 or 3:30 on Sunday.
Okay. Did you have occasion then to speak with Doug at all during Saturday?
No, not at all. When I got to Doug's house, Greg kind of slunk out the door to talk to me with one of the detectives, and I never entered his home or did anything. But by the way, did you guys find a pair of black Harley gloves on the edge of the road? I can't find my gloves since that day.
On the edge of what road?
Berkeley, Doug's road, in front of his house.
Like I said, I didn't have any privy to be there, so I don't know whether they found them or not.
They may have fell on my helmet or something, but the next day when I woke up for the class, I didn't have my gloves.
That was on Sunday, you were missing your gloves?
Yeah, but it was sometime from after the class on
Black
Saturday.
curly gloves?
Yep. They may have fell there, I don't know, I can't find them anywhere. I had them all day Saturday, until 7 o'clock for sure at least. I could've left them at my parents' house too, I don't know, or somewhere.
Okay. Did you speak at all with Doug besides the text messages that we looked at on Friday?
No, just the 2 text messages. I didn't wanna call or interfere with, the family's mourning, and
Sure.
just kinda throw a feeler text.
Have you spoken then with Doug since you left his house at all?
No,
Okay.
I didn't speak to him at his house.
Okay, so you hadn't seen or spoken with him since you went over?
Since Friday night, when he texted me if I was going to,
Okay, to the band?
Yep.
Okay.
And after that, all my conversations were with Greg.
With Greg. So
And
let's
then-
talk about with Greg. Greg, you spoke briefly when you went over to the house.
Yep, that was the first time I saw him that day, was at 7
Then
o'clock
you
at night.
picked him up here at the sheriff's office.
Correct.
And then you've had some time with him after that.
Yeah.
You've spent some time with him.
Absolutely.
Did Greg disclose anything to you that was of concern, or did he disclose to you what his thoughts or feelings were on this?
No, obviously, he thinks that there's no way he could have done it.
No way Doug could have done this?
Correct. And a lot of it is, he's stressed because he thinks that you guys think he's involved in it, any way, and he's not, and he's adamant about it, and,
Okay.
and I believe him. I've known these guys all my life.
Sure.
I've never seen anything out of them that would have been like, ooh, this guy's got a dark side or something.
What did Greg have a theory of what may have happened to Nikki?
Possibly getting hit by a car, or getting picked up on the way home. You know, there's a lot of things that could have happened. You know, she could have been walking down the trail.
I'm not looking at like possible theories, I'm looking at what
He
Greg
didn't have anything specific that he kept coming back to.
Okay.
You know, that it's.
I mean,
it
he
was
did talk specifically about feeling comfortable that Doug had nothing to do with it and indicating that he didn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
So that means it's the same line of thinking of, okay, well, if I'm comfortable that Doug didn't have anything to do with it, and I know I didn't have anything to do with it, then the next logical thing is what may have happened. So, I mean, you speculated a couple of things. Is that the things that he told you, or is that something that you're speculating now? That she may have been picked up or hit by a car? Do you recall?
I think it was probably just us bouncing stuff off each other.
And these were the type of things you were bouncing
Right,
off?
I mean, that was after they found the body and that you guys were pressing them and...
Sure. And would it be fair to say that it revolved around a stranger being involved? The theories?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, like she just got picked up by the wrong people on the way home, or...
Okay.
Nobody knows, I mean, that's...
Sure. So now let me ask you this. What do you think happened?
I don't know. I mean, obviously now I have all these, you know, these speculation type facts that you guys are putting out, you know, in place.
Well, tell me about it.
So, I mean, at the arraignment yesterday, they said that she was strangled and bludgeoned in front of the home, and then transported in a vehicle past the police station a quarter mile and dumped. That's basically where they're at with it. You know, that's what they basically said in court, and that they found some, you know, that Doug was being deceptive because he didn't know where her keys were. I mean, and they ended up being in a pretty obvious place. But I got a key dish at home, but I can guarantee my wife's keys hit that dish about once a month.
Why don't we take a simpler look at it? Because I don't want you to get kind of caught up in what was revealed. Obviously, not everything's revealed, and not everything's revealed in detail. And
Right.
actually, there's certain things that are still not known because they're still doing forensic tests and
Right.
things like that. So without getting too detailed about which argument they decided to pursue or didn't decide to pursue yesterday in court, let's look at it this way. Do you suspect that Doug had any involvement in Nikki's
No.
death? Do you suspect that Greg had any involvement in
No.
Nikki's death? What is your speculation that happened to her?
Well, from what the stories were, how she was on the Friday night, and her walking off, and unable to be consoled, and was making a scene and yelling, you know, that she probably tried walking home, and she got picked up by somebody, stranger, and from there, I don't know. I mean, from there, it's just back to the bouncing around.
So
You know, what
you
happened to her.
concur with Greg that it's a stranger that's involved?
I would believe that, yeah, over Doug or Greg.
Do you have any reason to believe that the body that was found is not Nikki's?
No, she would never stay that long away from her, you know, her kids. She's more level-headed than that. I mean, she can...
So you're comfortable that the body that was found, that Nikki's most likely deceased, and that was her body that was found?
Yeah, at that time, I mean, it's just everything lines up, you know. It's on her way home from Sardine Can, you know, it was a woman, just the whole timing and everything, you know, it had to be her.
If there was a large amount of blood or any forensic evidence that belonged to Nikki that was located across the street from Doug's house, well, first of all, do you think that would be Nikki's?
No, unless somebody picked her up and she told them where she lived, you know, and like brought her home, and then, you know, like, no, you're not getting out, you know, I changed my mind, I'm not dropping you off, you know, taking you or something.
Okay, but your first knee-jerk reaction is that wouldn't be her blood?
No.
Okay. Unless somebody murdered her in front of the house?
Correct. I don't think
And
that
then
would have
somebody
struggled with her.
Right, and somebody would be a stranger?
Correct.
Like I said, it's not evidence or
Right.
fact, I'm just
Yeah.
asking what your feelings were,
Yeah,
because
I mean-
you have known them for 17 years and I have not.
Right.
So, if somebody murdered her, I presume you would agree neighborhood.
I know everybody was right around Doug. You know, I know all those families.
Right, well, my concern would be then why Doug was home at the time, he would be one of those neighbors that wouldn't hear this then either.
Well, but Doug was drinking too. He might have went inside, and as soon as he, you know, sent the babysitter home, he could have just passed out, you know, on the couch.
Okay.
I mean, I don't hear too much when I've been drinking and I fall asleep. I pretty much go into hibernation mode and don't wake up until hunger strikes again.
So even if that was her blood that was out in front of his house, you still would not tend to believe that that Doug had any responsibility for this?
No.
Anything else that I might be missing that you think is important for me?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't really have any.
I mean, the goal here is to identify anything and everything that may
Right.
have happened surrounding Nikki's.
Like, I wasn't with them. I don't know Nikki well enough to know if she has anybody that doesn't like her. You know, Doug's been with Nikki for maybe close to 2 years, and you know, I probably only hung out with her maybe a dozen times. So I didn't know. I don't know her family. I met her brother once. We all went skeet shooting for the baby shower. The guys went skeet shooting and the girls did their little frou-frou crap. Other than that, I don't really know much about her.
Okay.
I've never met any of her friends. You know, she got along with all of us great. You know, and sometimes it's hard for new girls to come in the group because all the old girls are so
Established.
yeah, and they're, you know, judging the new girl in every turn, but they all seemed to like her a lot because she was bubbly and, you know, fun to be around.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about her relationship with Doug?
I think it's just a pretty standard relationship. I mean, nothing really stands out. You know, they attended my wedding together.
I mean, did they have you said standard relationship?
Yeah, like
standard
just,
to use.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm sure that they have their ups and downs and their, you know, their fights about little things, and you know, they have a child together, so I'm sure that, you know, one probably thought they were doing more than the other, and vice versa, like that kind of stuff.
One did what?
You know, like one did more than the other, or
Sure.
you know, like, you know, it's the second time you're doing laundry and you haven't done it once yet, you know, like stuff like that. I'm sure they have those, you know, faults that all relationships have, but
Okay.
other than that, I've never seen Doug mad at Nikki. I did see Nikki mad at Doug once. She actually left the house. This was probably like when she was maybe 2 or 3 months pregnant, and she was substitute teaching at the time. And me, Greg, and Doug came home and were loud down in the living room. And she came down and was like, "Really?" And then just turned around and stomped out the door. And that's when she still had her other apartment before she was like a full-time move-in with Doug. And she got in her car and left. That was the only time that I've seen either of them being mad at each other. I've never seen Doug mad at her, and I've seen her come down and be mad because, for good reason. I mean, we're being loud. She had to work, pregnant.
It was she had her apartment, so she drove to her apartment.
I think she lived right over here somewhere, like, or.
So never seen Doug mad at Nikki. Saw her mad once enough to leave because you guys were being jerks and loud and. Any domestic violence issues that you know of? Any physical violence? Any emotional, verbal abuse that you know of?
Maybe like a couple of years ago when he was dating that I think Becky. I don't remember what I think Mott is her last name. But she was a very aggressive person, and I think she had a history of crap too. But
Okay, so was she
violent towards her, or was she violent towards him?
I don't know. They used to fight a lot, you know. Like we'd go out to a tavern or something, and she would like go off the handle on him for something, and then other than that, I never saw any.
Was it
I've
her
never
issue, was
seen
it his
Doug.
issue, was it a mutual issue between the two of them?
Probably mutual. I don't know. That was so long ago. I don't remember even what they would have been arguing about, or. But she was kind of a real bitchy, snide kind of personality, and I don't know. It was either her way or the highway type deal.
I have horrific handwriting, so what I did is I just took some notes of what we talked about, and then I carried this iPad with me. Is it okay if I just throw down the things that we talked about on my iPad, make sure that I understood you correctly?
Sure.
Okay, I know it's, may seem like it's a little timely, but under the circumstances, it's important. Would you agree with that?
Go ahead.
Do you have to be somewhere, or?
No, I was just gonna do some stuff today, but.
You would agree that maybe sacrificing a little bit of time, especially
Absolutely.
since today's Thursday, it's not like I'm stopping by during Memorial Weekend, which is coming up, so at least.
And I might as well make sure you do it right, you're not twisting it to.
Right.
Try to, you know.
And that is exactly the thing. What we put down here is basically what I'm gonna say you told me. So, if I don't do that, then I'm just gonna have to go off my memory and stuff like that. We don't wanna do that. We wanna make sure that I get it right and you have an opportunity to look at it.
I get it.
So. Did, Doug, have any carpets that he laid on his, on the floor in his garage by any chance?
No, not in the garage. He has two runners downstairs in his basement by his ping pong table, so he doesn't wear out the.
Okay. So he doesn't lay anything on the floor in the garage?
I don't think so. I don't think his car's leaking anything. I mean, he might have like a entry rug or something, but.
What was your phone number again?
920-227-8939.
If you want another water or soda, let me know.
Okay.
There's a ping pong table in the basement?
There used to be, as of like a month or two ago, there was.
Sure. Do you remember how many runners were down there?
I think just one on each side.
100%.
You know, where the main pathway of the game would be played, you know, the carpet doesn't get worn out. 'Cause he had just finished that basement a couple months ago. He was looking to eventually sell.
So describe these runners, carpets to me.
I think they're just excess carpet pieces that.
And are they like more square, rectangle?
I think they're rectangle. They maybe each one about 5 feet long, you know, width-wise, and or 5 feet in length, and maybe 4 feet in diameter, you know, in width.
So 4 by 5?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, just the end of the ping pong table, and then maybe, you know, 4 feet the standing room.
And there was 2 of them by the ping pong table?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think they were the same type of carpet.
Oh, do you think they were different color, or?
And he might have, I haven't been down there for a while. He might have, you know, that might have just been when he finished it off, and then he was doing that for a couple weeks and then got rid of them. I haven't played ping pong over there for some time.
And that was how long ago that you saw them?
I don't know the exacts, but maybe 3 months ago.
And you don't recall any rugs in there?
Actually, I haven't been over there a lot in the last 6 months because, you know, he's busy with the baby and...
But you don't recall any rugs in the garage? That
No,
was
I don't,
cleaned up?
I mean, maybe just like a runner rug, you know, before you go into the, house.
Okay, so
Something
like a
kick-
doormat?
Yeah, like a, well, a doormat or something like this, you know, or like a...
A square?
Like a weather rug, you know, so you,
Okay.
yeah, square, so you kick your, you know, shoes off before you go
But
in.
no, like, long rug that you recall in the garage?
Not that I can recall, but, I mean, it could be a possibility that, you know, he just had a bunch of, work done in the basement, where they recarpeted everything, and so I'm sure if he had any extra scraps, he just might have...
The reason why I ask is a lot of times people, if they have like if they have a nice car, a collector car, maybe they'll put the car up on rugs, so they don't want it on the concrete, or if they have a leaky car or something like that, they'll put on either a rug or something to soak it up, or
yeah.
cardboard or whatever. I'm just wondering if you remember anything like that.
I don't think so.
You know, some people are just completely, you know, and they must have it whether a car leaks or not, and they must have it on both sides. Sometimes they have one problem car, not the other.
I don't think he's like that,
Okay.
where he'd have like all that going on in his garage. No, to tell you the truth, I don't go in his garage very often.
Sure.
You know, if we smoke, we usually go out in the back deck or front porch.
Try to expedite, okay? I see you are looking at your watch. had a baby with Nikki, who is his live-in girlfriend, is that correct?
Yeah, it wasn't at the time, when he was first dating her and telling me like the first month or so, I don't know, first month or so of her pregnancy, but she moved in shortly after. And she still had the other apartment for, I don't know how long, I don't know those specifics.
There was physical violence between Doug and Becky?
I don't know, possibly. Not that I can recall or could witness, but I know she was a wild wild cookie, that's for sure. She. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember how it all went down, but I think after they broke up, she was like coming back at him for, you know, 'cause she lived there for a long time. She can't, you know, wanting all her crap back, and just, she was just really unruly. Other than that, I've never witnessed, you know, either of them hurting each other, or, you know, nobody ever had black eyes or scratches or anything like that. But I think she broke her ankle or something like that.
How did that happen?
She said that it was from stepping on her dog going down the stairs.
What does that have to do with violence?
No, I'm just saying, but I think that, you know, maybe people were thinking that, or I can't remember the whole circumstance. I went down with it, but
Okay, so do you...
I know there was something that went on between her and Doug. Like, I'm not sure if one of them got a restraining order or something like that against each other, or
So do you think
if there was some small court claims or something. But
do you think the broken ankle happened as she described?
yeah,
By going over a dog? Or?
absolutely. That dog was horrible.
Okay.
It was constantly under her feet. It didn't like anybody else, any males. When they put it in the basement, it would scratch the doors. And
Did somebody ever claim or allege that it wasn't something to do with the dog?
no, not like formally. I think, you know, people just says jokes and stuff like that, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think there was a. I've never seen Doug hit anybody before. I've seen Doug get hit in the face by other guys and stuff, and like break his nose, and you know, he has all the opportunity in the world and would never even, you know, act on it. You know, if there's ever time you had an opportunity to hit somebody back, it's when, you know, the guy swings and breaks your nose. And I've never even seen him even swing back.
So you don't find him to be a violent person?
Not at all. He can be a prick. I mean, but I've never seen him get in a fight, or seen him get in fights, but I've never seen him fighting. Basically, put it more frankly, I guess.
What do you mean by being a prick?
Well, like, you know, he's really into sports,
Mm-hmm.
so he can be a real asshole when it comes to like being a fan from an opposing team, stuff like that. Just kind of be a prick. I don't know. But not like violent, like physical violence, but like just verbally, like can be a prick to people, or that's about it. I think the word for it is a shit talker. Talks a lot of shit.
wanna look on your phone or your watch? I just wanna make sure I got the date correct. Friday would have been the 20th, right?
Yeah, I think so. 22nd was the 24th.
Today's the 26th, if you wanna count back or just look it up.
I'll just look it up. Phones are so smart. Let's see,
Might
Friday
as well
was,
keep it out, 'cause I might need to.
okay, Friday was the 20th,
Okay.
my first Saturday.
And what's Doug's phone number?
920-621-0593. It's the only one I do have memorized.
Okay.
He's had it since he was 16.
So did you jump out of planes at all in the military?
Yep, I got 30 jumps.
I don't like those are so low in the military. I did civilian jumps that are 3,000 feet. What do you jump about 500?
Well, it's 800 feet in a combat situation, but usually for training they drop us at, anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 feet.
Well, that's not too bad. You get a good 60 seconds of free fall maybe, but there it's all what is it, tethered?
It's like 18 feet a second or whatever. Yeah, they're all tandem. They're all full cords on it.
Yeah, I know.
So
They're all tied to the plane. I can't remember what the name is called. You still get a good 5 seconds even with that.
yeah, well, suppose if you get to 5, that's when you should be pulling your reserve.
Right.
Yeah, ripcord tethered into the plane. Most of them were on helicopters, so.
Well, that makes it easier for you since you had class all 3 days, kind of a routine, a little bit of a schedule in the last couple of days, or at least during those days.
It was brutally boring too.
Well, especially since you've been riding all your life. I think first time I think I rode a motorcycle a little bit. Did I ever go? No, I think I just went to the DMV. This was a long time ago. High school probably, maybe college. I think I went to the DMV, took the written test, and then after that I just took the road course, and that's it. So I never even went to any class. So when I first got on the road, I was rough. That's what I was saying. I watched you ride, and it didn't look like you just went to class. Otherwise,
Yeah, I've had bikes
you're
all that.
stalling it at stop signs and all that. If you're brand new. And then I went to the police Harley Davidson course, which is 2 weeks long.
Sure.
It feels like you're a circus bear. I mean, because I think the entire course is, I don't know, I'd say maybe 80% of the course is under 5 miles an hour.
Low speed.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's just you're just doing little tricks basically. I really do feel like a circus bear. Probably one of the most challenging courses, police courses I've been.
Yep, you gotta constantly play the throttle and clutch just to kind of keep it upright, but
You're working
and make these little turns and.
You're working the engine speed just to keep it up. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's interesting.
Yeah. Actually, one of the guys asked me if I took the police course or if I knew took it, because we do those slow stops and then you just kind of hang out and then balance up forever,
And then
basically.
hit it at 90 to left or right.
Yep. But, I mean, didn't get out of first gear the whole, well, I did, but most people didn't even get out of the first gear the whole class. We have a rude awakening when it comes to time for shifting. Two people failed too.
Really, usually don't fail those.
Yeah, like a 50-year-old woman failed. Some other woman failed. One was just too smart for her own good. She was like a chemical
She
engineer.
knew everything.
Well, she was trying to do everything by the book, where sometimes you just gotta do what feels right. It's good weather though.
So that was Friday into Saturday. Do you mind pulling those messages up so I can recall what you told me about that? Friday into Saturday, you got a message and you didn't receive it till that morning when you went to class, or after class on Saturday?
I think I got it like lunchtime from Greg and me. The one where he said,
Yep.
The OWI one.
Yep.
Let's see here.
God damn, is Nikki crazy? She's going to get me in OWI, and that's curtains, folks, right?
Mhm. Basically, because this is the third one, that you'd be done. You know, it'd be, I don't know what jail time is for third now, about a year or something.
And that's what you meant by curtains?
That's what, yeah, what he meant, you know, it's basically, he'd lose his job, he'd, you know, be in jail, be broke. I mean, Greg hardly ever drinks. Maybe once a month, maybe.
And remind me what you said when you spoke with Greg the next day about that text message. He said Nikki was doing what?
I didn't respond to that text message at all, the first one.
Right, but next day you spoke with him about
Sure.
it.
And the next morning, he asked me if I wanted to go to Brilliant. I told him I was in that class when I got my messages at 1. And then when I got done at 20 to 5, I asked him if he had to go in for all. He said no. I said,
I don't want to go that far with the messages. I just want to deal with that OWI message.
oh,
When you guys talked about that the next day, he explained to you what was happening right around that time.
oh, he was scared that he had the possibility that he's going to get an OWI, I think. I mean,
Because Nikki was doing what?
she was missing,
Oh,
and they were searching for her,
okay.
or driving around, you know, more than they would have to.
Did he say that she was drunk? Did they say there was an argument? Did they say that she walked away from somewhere? What did he say?
He didn't say how drunk she was, but I know they were all drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really ask him that until, you know, a lot later, but, he said that they were all at the Steel Panther concert, drinking, you know, having a good time, and there was a whole group of our friends there, you know, 15, 20 of them, how many ever were there, and, they went over to Sardine Can, everybody kind of like in separate cars, and Nikki went with somebody over there. I thought he said Aaron or something. We went with Aaron and Darcy, his girlfriend or whatever, over there. And then the way he explained it was that him and Doug stayed back at the watering hole, and we were gonna meet him over there, and, you know, it was taking him some time to get over there. And Nikki had tried, he said that Nikki had tried calling Doug, and he didn't answer. And then another girl that was with them, Crystal's Cormier's sister, or Crystal Keene, his sister, tried calling him right after Nikki did, and he did answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that, basically, she blew a gasket right there, and...
Who was it that tried to call her and he answered?
I wanna say he said that, Angela Cormier, I don't know what her name is now, but,
And who is she?
a sister of, Crystal Keene. You know, somebody else we've known along, you know, forever. I guess she tried reaching out to see if they could get a hold of Doug, and he answered for whatever reason, maybe that he didn't hear the first one or whatever, but, I guess she flipped out after that.
What does that mean?
You know, just lost it, like, you know, why is he answering another girl's, you know, call over me, you know, like, you know, I'm sure she felt, unimportant, you know, that he didn't answer her, but answered the friend.
Sergeant Ernestine. Yes, ma'am. I do not. I'm in an area where I don't have access to anybody right now. I think Sergeant Holzbach would be able to answer that. Thank you.
So like I she was visibly upset about, you know, Doug not being there yet, answering a phone call from somebody else, and not her phone call, and said that she
Okay, then,
walked out, I guess they said she started walking out of the bar, and my friend Aaron Klinsky, I guess, was trying to, you know, get her back to come back to the bar, or, you know, not walk off into, you know, downtown Westside Green Bay alone. And he said that he was unsuccessful. She was, you know, making commotions and screaming and yelling, and, you know, people were coming out of their houses, I guess, you know, seeing if everything was all right. Supposedly this happened, you know, like around midnight, 12:30, I don't know. That's what they were saying. Like I said, I wasn't there to witness anything, but he was unable to get her back to come back to the bar. And his fiance was back at the bar getting into an Uber, and he got in the car and just, you know, said that, you know, if you're gonna be like this and be crazy, then the hell with you, you know. I mean, he obviously couldn't do anything to get her back. So he just got in the car with his fiance and left. I think they went home. I didn't ask where they went after that, but.
so when would they have been driving around looking for her then?
I don't know, I have no clue.
Okay.
Sometime after that, you know, maybe closer to bar close, I don't know. I don't know every detail of what they did, but. And I think he said that they arrived, you know, after she had already gone. And people are telling them that she left, walked off. That she was irate. Yeah.
What's Greg's number?
Uh, 264-3978.
So this stupid joke about the shovel, do you think that maybe had something to do with her acting irate the night before?
No.
Like, if she's being irate at Doug, that would, you could see where he would make a stupid joke, where Doug would not be happy with her behavior.
That was me that said that.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I said,
you
right.
said that instead of, you said that instead of, one of the other 20 people that were out there. You didn't mention Greg doing that with a shovel, or you didn't mention anybody else.
Well, because, obviously, because she's dating Doug.
Right.
It is just, it's something that, now that something happened, this horrific, thing happened, now it's not a joke anymore. Now it is just like insensitive, and that, I think Doug is capable of something like that, which I don't think so at all. I just did it, it's kind of how we banter back and forth with each other. We, mess with each other, and it was, obviously now it's stupid, but at the time it was meant just to be a joke. And I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't realize that she had walked away from the bar yet. I didn't realize that she hasn't showed back, well, they told me that she can't find her, but I didn't realize that, she possibly could have been hurt or, killed. So that would have never been said. I thought they were just, I don't know, joking around or something, or she was just mad and not coming home for some reason. There's really no good reason why I said it. It's just, when I went over to the house, I still didn't think anything was, terribly wrong, so I was jackass yet again over there, dinging the doorbell a million times.
Remind me, when you said they know where she's at already, that was a statement that you made. Give me context, because it's hard to see it on a piece of paper.
Like I said, I spoke with my wife.
But that was before you spoke with your wife. They know where she's at already.
Well, that's what it looks like in here, but I think I went home in between the class and my parents' house, because it's halfway in between. And now that I think about it, my wife was in between events as well, so she may have been at home.
I see. Okay, I gotcha. Right.
And she said something like, she's not missing, I saw her on Facebook or something like that.
So back up a little bit. You think that you drove home and spoke with your wife, because there's no record?
I'd have to talk to her, but I may have drove home
Before going to your parents?
en route to my parents' house to
Okay.
catch her or something.
Gotcha. Do you remember one way or the other, or you don't remember?
I think that's what I did. Is I drove home, and I caught her in between events, and she had to be back at Titletown for 6. So that home moment Yeah, they texted me on that Saturday, my parents, around 1 o'clock, and asked if I could stop over after your classes today to get your birthday present.
Okay.
And I said, okay, not sure when I will be there, around 4 or 5, and that was at 1, so that was my lunch break. She said, that's fine. And then at 20 to 6, when that class got done, I asked her if there was something that I can carry, because I'm riding the motorcycle.
Okay, so you're just arranging to see your parents for your gift.
Right.
Okay.
Is there a bathroom I can use?
Take this door to the left, and it's the last door on the left. You can leave that open. What you got for a gift from your parents?
Yeah, I got a laptop, a refurbished laptop that my dad found for me, and a card with the money check in it. stay at home, me, wife, and the roommate ordered some Domino's, and was basically following the news at that point. After I saw that stuff going, you know, they found somebody, waiting to see if they identified her. You know, it's just too much of a coincidence of them not being able to find her, and then, you know, them finding a body, you know, halfway, you know, about halfway in between, or whatever it is, from there and to Doug's house.
When you say halfway in between, you mean sardine can?
Yeah, like, you know, like as the crow flies, you know, it's not halfway, it's a little more than halfway probably, I'd imagine. But if I walked home, that would be, the walk from the sardine can to Doug's house, that'd probably be pretty, you know, kinda close to the route I would take too as well. I would cut up Mason and get on the East River Trail and take that to either Hoffman or Chicago Street. And
Almost done.
okay.
So you have not spoken with Doug since when, do you think?
Like, actually physically spoke to him, I mean, it was before Friday.
Okay.
Friday, he sent me that text to see if I was going out and if I was gonna go to the concert. You know, basically, we just had a little conversation about me having class and him giving me shit about learning how to ride a bike, because he obviously knows I already know how to. And he's probably one of the best snowmobilers I've ever seen. The arraignment?
Yeah.
Yep, 2:30 yesterday. I think the last time I saw Doug was, last time we played softball.
And remind me about Greg. Greg, you got that OWI message from him, and then at 1:30 you picked him up here, and then you spent some time with him after that.
Well, it was Friday night, that's when or Saturday AM.
Okay.
Whatever, it was 1:30 AM, he texted me, you know, stupid crazy Nicky. I'm gonna end up getting an OWI, and then it's gonna be curtains, because he's gonna be screwed, you know, he's gonna be in jail, you know, lose his job, you know, comes with OWIs. And then the next time I spoke to him was at 1 in the afternoon.
So Greg has never, we talked about this, never said that Doug revealed anything to him relating to what may have happened to Nikki, right?
Right.
Okay.
You know, I think when that Saturday night when they both were getting questioned, I think that was the last time Greg saw Doug, was that evening, as far as I'm concerned. I know they talked to each other, I mean, you know. You know, I sent him a message at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, first time after that text message. And I told him I was in that motorcycle class till 5, and then when I got out at 20 to 5, that's when I started asking questions. Did you go frolfing? You know,
Got it.
and then he said, you know, Nikki maybe didn't know the joke, and I'm like, why do you say that? And then, you know, she says she's still missing from the bar, and friends and family haven't heard her, she's not in jail. And I jokingly said that Doug at home cleaning his shovel just to be an asshole. And then that's when I must have talked to my wife, because I said they know where she's at already. And then...
what do you think that was? Do you think that was a mistake on your wife, or what do you think happened?
Probably.
Did you talk to your wife about that?
I didn't talk to her about it, but I guess that's something we could talk to her about.
Okay.
But I think she just thought she posted something new on Facebook or something like that. And those conversations went from 20 to 5 until 10 after 5. And then that's when I went to my parents' house and then went over there right afterwards. 7.
Do you believe that Greg has any knowledge of who may have killed Nikki?
No. I think if he did, regardless of who it was, stranger or Doug, I think he would have no problem giving up the information. I don't think he
Even
would.
if that included Doug?
Right, even if it included Doug, I mean, when friends and family talk, we're like, we're gonna back Doug all the way, and we don't think he's capable of this, but, if it does come around and, it proves that he did something without a shadow of a doubt, we could accept that, that, something we didn't see about him or whatever, but none of us can even fathom him doing something like that.
Spoke about the blood in front of the house, you said that you still suspected that it may be a stranger that may have driven her home and then changed his mind, or what was another scenario you gave me?
Yeah, or she got picked up and somebody gave her a ride home, but that's almost seems like couldn't even be a possibility either, I don't know. To tell you the truth, I don't think it was even blood at all. I think it was probably just a ploy to arrest him for something.
Okay.
And I know all of his neighbors, and I was talking with his neighbors, and they said that whatever that stain you guys are looking at was 100 feet past his driveway. It wouldn't even be in a loading zone, or something like that, where if there was something that went whole night. And then, a jogger or whatever, you know, sees this blood stain. I mean, who even knows what blood looks like on the concrete? I mean, I'm blacked out too, of all things. No, this seems kind of fishy. Seems like it was staged to make an arrest so they could release more information. Especially if I did my research on these cases, you know, 90% of the time or more, the first person that gets apprehended or brought in or, you know, their suspicion is always the significant other. I mean, it always, you know, it always is. Unless there's something right away that says something different. I don't think Nikki ever made it home, because if she would have made it home, I think she would have been fine. I don't think Doug would even have it in him to even do something that heinous, you know, especially to the mother of his 6-month-old child, you know. His girlfriend for 2 years.
So you brought a lot of doubt into this blood.
Yeah.
If it's shown beyond any issue or suspicion that there was indeed blood there and it was indeed Nikki's, what is your thought on
Well,
that?
then I'd have to think about it again, but then everybody thinks about it differently, and
Well, that's why I'm
there's
asking you.
different scenarios. I don't know. I mean, everything in me wants me to believe that, you know, Doug is innocent. From everything I know about him, you know, all the time I spent with him, you know, all the experiences we've had together, I don't think he is capable of that. And if it is there, you know, it's from
Obviously,
an outside source, like a stranger picking her up or something like that. Somebody following her, or
because you wouldn't want me running out to your house and saying, well, these are the test results, these are the test results. If we're sitting here, I might as well ask you, you know, thoughts and speculations that you may have if one thing is this and one thing is that. So that's what
I guess, you know, if they did find blood there, I would think that somebody brought her back to the residence and, you know, did something to her before she was able to get out and get up into her house. I don't know.
Do you think that if that is her blood that's across the street from his residence, do you think that raises some questions at least for Doug?
For Doug, I mean, yeah, I could see that. I mean, I could see the suspicion, but that's saying that that's blood. I mean, who knows if it's even blood?
I'm saying to you right now that if it's definitively shown to be hers,
it would raise some suspicion, but I think we would, you know, still back Doug, you know, all the way until, you know, he can be proven without a doubt that he did it, but then once he did, once we find that out, he's pretty much dead to us, how could we have been friends with somebody that long, and he's capable of hurting somebody this close to her, we wouldn't want anything to do with him, after that, but I don't think that's the case, and until somebody tells me it is the case, I'm gonna back Doug, because I don't think he could do it.
Okay.
Nikki was no 90-pound cheerleader. I mean, she was a in shape, tall, girl. I mean, I think if anybody had it out with her, they wouldn't be walking away without scratches or bruises or a black eye. I think she could scrap. And, wouldn't be quiet. She'd be yelling and screaming and, all those neighbors right there all have kids under the age of 10. If there's any loud noises or screaming, I'm sure those parents are on a hair trigger waking up, because they have all those small children in the homes. I think somebody would have saw or heard something. People right across from his house were home all weekend. And, I don't see Matt sleeping through anything like that, or... And those neighbors are so quiet in the night, you can almost hear a pin drop. Neighborhoods, they don't have very many entrances and exits, and there's, it's like one big loop, so there's one way, 2 ways in and out, so if there's any traffic, it has to go right past Doug's house. If it happened there, somebody had to have heard or seen something. You have about 15 more minutes. I'm gonna head back.
Okay.
Dog's out, my car's unsecure, windows are open.
Sorry about that. One question that I have for you is this. You said about that you would need to have some definitive proof.
Right.
Short of the killer confessing, or let's say Doug, for example, if he's the killer or he's the killer. Short of Doug confessing, what would be the definitive proof for you that Doug was responsible?
If he was on camera, doing, on camera for anything, if, like, let's say, whatever caused the blood trauma, had his fingerprints on it and, everything matched up, or if it was a shooting that the bullet would match up, or he had gunshot residue on his hands, like those type of things. Or bloodstains throughout the house, you know, inside the house, or inside their vehicles. But, you know, they say they have that stuff, but these things are all unidentified at this point.
Correct. Unfortunately, with real life, things don't get resolved in an hour.
Oh,
TV
I
show.
get it. I mean, I'm in the medical profession. I know how long it takes to put DNA through a spectrometer and...
What I did is I took down what you told me.
Yep.
You said you gotta go, so we'll wrap this up. I wanna make sure that I got this right. It's on the computer, I can change anything that's not correct. I can add things that need to be, or I can take things away, whatever. So let's go over this together. I wanna make sure that I spelled your name correctly, your birthday, your phone number, your address. Is that all correct?
All correct.
Okay, I'll just go paragraph by paragraph with you. So on 526, which is State Sergeant Ernestine, which is me, and Sergeant Horsbach, which is the other guy, came to my residence located at 808 Ridgeway Boulevard, located in the city of De Pere. I agreed to come to the Brown County Sheriff's Office willingly and voluntarily in order to speak with them. I then drove to the Brown County Sheriff's Office and met with Sergeant Ernestine. Sergeant Ernestine reminded that I was at the Brown County Sheriff's Office willingly and voluntarily, and was free to end the interview at any time and leave if I wished. I agreed to speak with Sergeant Ernestine. I just need a yes or no.
Yep.
Sergeant Ernestine asked me if it was okay to conduct a search of my cellular telephone while he spoke with me. Sergeant Ernestine advised me that this was completely voluntarily on my behalf. I advised Sergeant Ernestine I would provide him with access to specific material that I have wanted to see, that he wanted to see, but did not wish to allow consent to conduct a search of my cellular telephone. I provided Sergeant Ernestine an opportunity to review several text messages that I had exchanged with Doug and Greg in the last couple of days or so. Chris? Doug Detrie has been a good friend of mine since I was 16 years old. Greg Matthew has also been a good friend of mine since I was in high school. Correct?
All correct.
Doug and Greg both stood up at my wedding in June of this year. I guess I spent more time doing social things with Greg, such as playing Frisbee golf, as we just share more things in common. Correct?
Correct.
Doug recently had a baby with Nikki. Nikki moved in with Doug shortly after she became pregnant. I really don't know Nikki that well, as I had only met her a dozen or so times. I don't really know if she has any enemies or people that do not like her. I've never met any of her friends. From what I could tell, Doug and Nikki had a standard relationship that included ups and downs. I'm sure there were arguments about chores and things as their parents of a newborn. I have never seen Doug become mad at Nikki. I recall Nikki became angry at Doug when we were loud one day, and she had to go to work the next day. She was a couple of months pregnant at the time. She still had her apartment nearby, so she stormed out and drove to her apartment.
Correct.
Okay, so that's page one, if that's correct. I just need you to put your initials on there. It doesn't like fingernails, it just likes the padded part of your finger. Doug had a previous girlfriend by the name of Becky Mott. Becky was aggressive, it was kind of a bitch. Doug and Becky had a tumultuous relationship and frequently argued. They fought. Did I spell that right?
F-O-E-Ts.
I had it right, didn't I? A lot. I suspect that there was physical violence between the two of them, but nothing that I had witnessed. I suspect that the issues between the two of them may have been mutual. I know that there was an incident when Becca broke her ankle. She said that she tripped over her dog. I believe that this is what occurred. However, there were people that made jokes that Doug was the one that was responsible for her injury. Correct?
Yep.
I have never seen Doug punch anyone. Doug can be a prick, but I would not characterize him as being violent. I guess a word for it would be a shit talker.
Correct.
I believe that Doug had a couple of runner rugs in his basement by his pool table when I was there several months ago. I don't recall seeing any rugs in his garage, but it was possible he had some, as I do not really go into his garage that frequently.
Correct.
On Friday the 20th of May, I attended a motorcycle riders class at Green Bay Harley-Davidson Vanderheyden. The class was from 5:30 p. to 9:30 p. While I was in class, I received a text message from Doug, phone number, asking me if I was going to the Steel Panthers and Annex concert tonight. This was around 6:58 p.m. I responded around 9:18 p.m. when I got out of class that I was going to be going home into sleep as I had motorcycle class again in the morning. I then went home and to bed.
Yeah, I went to Titletown for like 5 minutes, but
briefly stopped off at Titletown on the way home. I then went home to bed. On Saturday, the 21st of May, I got up about 6 a.m. and drove my motorcycle to class once again, arriving sometime between 6:45 a.m. and 7 a.m. The class was scheduled to be done at 5 p.m., but may have ended a bit early. I recall that sometime around lunchtime I reviewed my messages from the night before and noted that Greg had texted me, quote, "God damn, is Nikki crazy? She's going to get me an OWI, and that's curtains, folks," unquote. I spoke with Greg about this text message the next day, and he told me that Nikki ended up at Sardine Can, and he and Doug were at the watering hole. Greg said that Nikki tried calling Doug, and he did not answer. Greg said that when Angela Cormier, Crystal Kane's sister, called, and he answered the call, and that at that time Nikki flipped out because he was answering another woman's call, but not hers, as well as not being at the Sardine Can. According to Greg, Nikki walked out of the bar despite others trying to stop her. Nikki was screaming and yelling, and people were coming out of their house just to make sure everything was okay. Greg ended up leaving in an Uber with his...
that was Aaron, all the Gregs in that,
Well, this is according to Greg. This is the information you're getting from
well, I
Greg.
talked to Aaron too.
Okay.
To see what happened at the bar.
So which part needs to change?
So, Greg said that he walked out of the bar and they tried to stop her. Nikki was screaming, yelling. People were coming out of their houses to make sure everything was okay.
I understand Greg wasn't the one that was stopping
yeah.
her. That's why I put others.
Aaron was the one.
Others, so that would be Aaron.
Yep. Just trying to convince her to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. Nikki was screaming and yelling. People were coming out of their houses to make sure everything was okay. Greg ended up leaving.
That's Aaron.
Okay, got it.
Ended up leaving in an Uber. I think that's how they go home. The men. That's where he goes.
Got it. Uber with his fiance, and due to Nikki being crazy like that. I guess the OWI message must have been due to them, Greg and Doug, driving around looking for her. Nikki. I guess she was irate and mad when she walked off. Greg's number is that.
Yep.
I checked my text messages after class and saw that at about 5 p.m. Greg texted me that Nikki may be dead, no joke. I replied, "Why do you say that?" Greg advised me that Nikki was still missing. She was not in jail, and family and friends have not heard from her. I then made a stupid joke by texting as Doug at home cleaning the shovel. I did not realize that things were this serious at the time, and it is clear to me that this message is insensitive. I would never have said that had I realized how serious things actually were. I then texted, "They know where she's at already." I recall making a statement after speaking with my wife that told me that she saw on Facebook that Nikki was communicating, must be all right. My wife is Crystal Engelbus, 21184, and she resides at the same address as I do. Her number is that. I at first speculated that I must have communicated with her using my phone when I got this information. When I could not find any records of that on my phone, I suggested that I might have stopped by my house briefly and spoke with her in person.
So her name is Christina. So it's just I-N-A on the end of it.
Here?
Yeah, back to the I-N-A now.
Okay, and then you suspect that she must have been mistaken about the Facebook thing?
Yeah, I think she thought that she saw that she posted something that morning or something, or, I have to ask her exactly what she said, but basically she said that that's not true because I just saw her do something on Facebook or something. But obviously that wasn't the case.
I now suspect that my wife must have been mistaken about the Facebook post, correct?
Correct.
True. Minutes later, I received a text from Greg saying, "Nope, I was with Doug. He's got a strong alibi." I guess this is when I was becoming more clear that things may be more serious than initially thought. Correct?
Correct.
After this exchange, I went to my parents. They live at 2492 Fairhaven Drive in the village of Bellevue. I stayed there for about 60 to 90 minutes. They gave me a birthday gift, refurbished laptop, and a card, correct?
Okay.
I then drove to Doug's house on Berkeley Road. I recall having my black motorcycle gloves all day on Saturday, but was missing them on Sunday. I do not know where they are, but it is very well possible that I may have dropped them somewhere on the road as they were in my helmet. When I arrived at Doug's house, I rang the doorbell a bunch of times like I normally do. I guess I was being a jackass, but I still did not know the true scope of the situation or the fact that they were calling the police or that a body had been located. Doug and Greg were at the house. Doug's parents were also there. The police were also there, and Doug was making a missing persons report. I briefly spoke with Greg and an officer and then went home. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I learned on the news, I believe the 9 o'clock news, that a body had been located about halfway between the sardine can and Doug's house. This was the first time that I learned that a body had been found based on the circumstances and reports that I have followed. I have no reason to doubt that the body that was found was that of Nikki. Correct? On Sunday, the 22nd of May, sometime around 1:30 a.m., I received a call from Greg and subsequently picked him up at the sheriff's office. I took him to his house on Grandview and then went home. I also went home and once again attended the motorcycle class in the morning as I had done the day before.
Correct.
I have not talked with Doug since before Friday, the 20th of May. I received a couple of texts from him that day about going to the band. I also saw him at his house when the police were taking the missing persons report, but did not talk with him at that time. I've not had any contact with him since then. I also saw him on video court when I attended the hearing on the 25th of May.
Correct.
I have maintained contact with Greg. Greg has never told me anything about Doug or him being in any way involved in Nikki's disappearance or murder. Greg has told me that there was no way Doug was responsible for Nikki's murder. Greg maintained that he was in no way responsible for Nikki's murder. I share in Greg's speculation that the murderer must be a stranger of some type, such as someone that may have picked her up or maybe hit her with their car. I also don't believe that Doug could have killed Nikki. I do not believe Greg was in any way responsible for killing Nikki. I also believe that if he knew who killed Nikki, he would disclose that to the police, even if that included Doug. If it was eventually proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that Doug was responsible for killing Nikki, me, Greg, and others could accept that.
Right. I mean, if it's without a doubt, and,
That's page 3.
it's just not something we would ever see him do.
And the last page is basically touching on what you just said. I suspect that the blood located outside Doug's house does not belong to Nikki. If the tests come back that the blood is that of Nikki's, then I would still maintain that Doug was not necessarily involved. I still believe that a stranger could have driven her home and may have changed his mind, killing her in front of the house. Doug may not have heard anything as he may have fallen asleep due to drinking that night. I guess that is also far-fetched, to be honest. I really don't believe that the stuff was blood and the whole thing was a ploy to arrest Doug for something. I think that it seems like it was staged to make an arrest. I just don't buy that a jogger could identify blood on a pavement and know that is what it was. I just don't think that Nikki ever made it home, as Doug does not have it in him to do something that horrible to the mother of his 6-month-old child. Everything in me wants to believe that Doug is innocent. The blood, if the blood was actually there, then it must have come from an outside source, such as a stranger possibly following her. I could see the suspicion that may be raised against Doug if the blood came back to be Nikki's. I would still support Doug until it was clear that he was not involved. If it was definitely proven that he was involved, then we would disown him, but I do not believe that would be the case. The neighbors would have had to hear something if she was killed outside. Definitive proof of Doug's guilt, short of his confession, would be him being on camera or his evidence on the item that caused her death or blood stains in the house or vehicles. Correct?
Correct, yeah.
As you can see, it's we talked in detail, and I think I used a lot of your own words and
Yep, you did.
made sure that it was true and accurate. So if that's the case, I've given the statement of my own free will. No forced threats or promises were made to me to obtain the statement of 4 pages. 4 pages, true and correct to the best of my knowledge. The statement has been read to me by Sergeant Aaron C. and I have read it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can I just have you sign right there for me? And then below that, if you could put today's date, it is
29.
No, not quite.
Oh,
6/26, I'm sorry, 5/26, 2016, and it's 6 PM. And then, do you mind if I just take 1 second to speak with my colleagues? That way I don't have to, if they have a question or something, I can ask you before you leave. What I do is I make a PDF file of this, so nothing can be changed. It gets emailed, and then it remains as is, just the way you told me, with your signatures. So there goes. If I can just have 30 seconds of your time, I'll be right back, okay? All right. We're all set, we're all done. My colleagues just had the one extra question for you. They wanted to know what was your reason that you weren't comfortable with allowing us to go through your phone.
Because the whole reason why I'm here is because the text got taken out of context.
Okay.
I don't want you to go, and take a bunch of other stuff out of context and have to explain myself of, how me and my friends, communicate and, joke around with each other.
Okay.
So, I was willing to show you everything that you wanted to see, but
Absolutely. There's some people that have issues and concerns because they have other illegal things. I actually just spoke with somebody the other day that said, I don't want to give you my phone because there's a bunch of stuff on there when I talk to my drug dealer. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so that's why I asked that question, and that's why I'm just looking for your response on that.
I want to give you everything you need, but I don't want you to have all this information of people that I talk to and stuff like that, and taking things out of context, and if I write a sick joke on somebody's text message, all of a sudden I'm in here again because it was taken out of context, and why would you say that? It's like if the Packers had a loss, and I'd be like, oh, a lot of wives are getting beat tonight, and then all of a sudden somebody's wife gets beat, and then I'd be like, why did you say that? It's just kind of like a...
Okay, fair enough. I don't have anything else for you.
It's a
You're all
joke,
set.
so.
I'll walk you out. Close the door behind you.